What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So, this video is a little bit different. You know, lately I've been doing solely doing reactions on this channel, and what probably maybe we may have one today that goes along with this. But for right now, we're just gonna talk about Jake Calvin Johns, aka Big Boy. There's so many people reacting to Big Boy and the Strength Cartel and just clowning, having a good time. I don't think any of us, I can only speak for myself. I know I don't have anything against these guys, right? But here's the thing. They've linked up with Wes Watson. And, you know, there was the thing where I made it clear, like in the beginning when I clowned Wes Watson, it was because the stories were so ridiculous. Like any of us that were ever really in prison heard them and they were ridiculous, right? And then he turned into like an alter ego, right? He started talking about Lambos and Bugattis, and he moved out of state, and we were trash because we didn't have a mansion like him, and we didn't have cars like him. And next thing you knew, he was just like, I don't know, he just became something way different. And then it started coming out, the prices he was charging people to live that lifestyle, and it was all based off of fallacy, right? And so a lot of us decided we're gonna go in on him. We're gonna clown him, and we're gonna roast him, and we're gonna make fun of how ridiculous the stuff is that he says and does. But then Jake Calvin Johns decided that his crew, that his brand, something he had been working on for, he says, 20 years, he decided that his brand, and then Cali Muscle, he dragged Cali Muscle along with him. These guys have been in their industry doing their thing for 20 years, supposedly, and they decided they needed to link up with Wes Watson. And so those of us that were already having a good time, just having fun roasting Wes, it was like, whoa, now you guys jumped in. And unfortunately, for Cali Muscle and for Jake Calvin, you guys have all decided to base your foundation on your prison careers. The fact that you guys are former crooks and criminals. The fact that you were in the California Department of Corrections, which most people don't even deny is the most brutal prison system in the United States. And you choose to drape that around your shoulders and create an image based off of that, right? And so when we look at Wes Watson's prison career, prison resume, it's all fugazi. It's crap. He was never on a level 4. He's counting the reception center as a level 4. You don't have points in the reception center. And once you get your points, you get transferred out because now you have points. They know where they're supposed to send you. So to claim that as a level 4 is pretty fucking amazing, right? But Wes, so, you know, we've gone through his stuff. He was never sentenced to 10 years. He didn't do 10 years, but that's all we hear about, that he did 10 fucking years and that nobody else could do it. Unfortunately, there are tens of thousands of men and women doing 10 years, but according to Wes, nobody could do 10 years but him, right? And then we have Cali Muscle, okay? Cali Muscle likes to throw the prison name San Quentin around, right? And because people that are not from California don't understand, since 1994, San Quentin has been a low-level prison, a level 2 prison. And if you were a killer, you weren't going to get sent there if you were convicted of murder. Let me clarify that because there's people that were on level 2s that get really butthurt when I say stuff like that. If you were in there putting in work, you're not going to be in San Quentin. You're going to get kicked right out real quick. And then, you know, there's people, and I've been through San Quentin. I've been through San Quentin 3 different times, but those were all layovers, holdovers, right? I was not allowed to be there because of my points. It was a level 4. So there's that, and people are looking into that right now, you know, because he does the prison spread videos, and he talks about San Quentin. He talks about being a shot caller, just like Wes. These guys are all shot callers, right? So I know for a fact there's people behind the scenes looking into it. But today we have Jake Calvin Johns. I can't get over it. And I don't care about anybody's name, but it's like how, like, you have the cartel hats with the Mexican colors. You do videos where you say you're the strongest Mexican, and maybe you're Mexican. I don't understand how you got the name, like all 3 names, right? Like Jake Calvin Johns. So I would assume if your last name's Johns, you're saying your mom was Mexican. Would you? Damn, she didn't have a say in one of them names. That's fucked up. But so here we go. So if you guys missed it, man, go to the homie hangout. Make sure you go to the homie hangout and see the video that he did today. I'm fine with you backing out of this video right now, going and watching that, and then coming back. Okay. But I will say this. I want you to see this. I want to play this little bit for you.
The only real one that's been to a real yard, Big Joe. Big Joe's the only one that went to a real yard.
Yeah, that's what he said in the video.
How did you meet me, Joe? I can't remember.
Like, how did we meet? That's how we met. We were on a real yard. I'm like, what's going on?
I'm confused, yeah. Big Joe's the only one that's been in a real yard, but how did I meet Big Joe? I don't know. I guess I forgot.
So you see, nobody was looking for anything. Nobody gives a damn. I tell people all the time, I don't care what people did in prison. I'm out here. If I converse with you for a couple minutes, I already know how you did your time. You can't fool somebody who really did that shit, right? So that stuff is irrelevant. But when you say that stuff right there, Jake, Joe, free Big Joe, he was the only one, dog. He was the only one on a real yard, dog. Hey, how did I meet him? Oh, I don't remember. And then Joe's like, I met him on a real yard. Was it the 1 yard? Level 1? Jake, and there's nothing wrong with that. You were a privileged child. See, that's the thing. There's so many similarities between Jake and Wesley. They were skateboarding and snowboarding. As minors, as juveniles, they were skateboarding and snowboarding. Neither one of them was grimy and in the streets, and that's a great fucking thing. You guys could have told a story of how you guys were good kids, privileged kids, came from something. You weren't struggling like a lot of the people around you, but you fell into the trap, and when you fell into the trap, you made some poor decisions. You made some bad choices and you went to prison, but you know what? You did 1 prison term and you got out. And while you were in prison, you figured it out and you figured what you wanted to do and you got out and you made it happen. That is fucking motivational. That I could back up. And yeah, I'm nobody. I don't need, but there's a lot of people that would be like, hey, Holmes, I give them credit for that. But instead, when you create this whole narrative, the shot caller narratives, and you come out here and you talk about, yeah, I don't know. How did I meet him? I don't know. He was the only one on a good yard. Well, how did I meet him? I don't know. Hey, dog. I've never heard Jake Calvin ever say anything about putting in work and all that stuff, which is good. It's a good thing. He hasn't gone to the extent of Cali Muscle, and especially not the extent of Wes. But I don't get the whole infatuation with creating a brand based on prison when you did go to prison. Nobody can take that from you. I don't care what level prison you go to in California. Things can happen. People lose their lives on any level. But for those people that get mad at me because they did time on a level 2, they get mad at me when I say a level 2 is nothing like a level 4, and then they tell me, well, this guy got killed on a level 2. Yeah, and the guy that did it went to a level 4. You didn't. You did your time and you went home. There's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't feel ashamed that you were a level 2 or a level 1. You were smarter than the rest of us. You weren't trying to put in work or make a name. You were trying to go home. You cared more about the name that's on your back or in your birth certificate. Nothing wrong with that. And that's why I go back to if Wes, if Jake, if Chuck, if they would have all just been like, man, I was in prison. That was a horrible fucking thing. I made some stupid choices in life, but you know what? I learned how to be a man, and I grew up from that one experience. And look at what I've done now, man. I've become a force of positivity. And you see what I'm saying? Like, that right there, man, people would have been like, hell yeah. But instead, you guys linked up. You guys linked up with the biggest prison shot caller who never was. And as dudes who, you want to claim you're convicts, you should have been able to see through Wes like everyone else, like immediately, and never hitched up with him, never hitched your wagon to him. His ship is sinking. And there's people saying, oh, if you're talking about him, if you're reacting to him, then he's still relevant. No, he's hilarious. I just did a reaction to a Cali Muscle video, and that video was 8 years old, and people got on me, oh, that's an old-ass one, and it's like, yeah, but you laughed. It's the only reason why I do these reactions is for us to laugh, for us to have a good time. This one is more, kind of like, I guess you could call it investigative journalism, but what it is it was motivated by the homie Hangout. Again, go and check out his video. He's going to go into detail what Jacob Calvin was busted for, how much time he did, where he did it. He's going to talk about all that stuff. I just wanted to talk about the fact that it's a damn shame that these guys want to be out here claiming to be shot callers. On my big channel is the one, my more serious channel, and I tell stories of prison. And I talk about how I was in a position of authority in several different prisons, or ADSEGs, holes, if you want to call them. And I was a nobody. And even when I held authority positions, I knew I was still a nobody, because all the real shot callers were all up in Pelican Bay Shoe. Those are the only shot callers in prison. There's guys that get some authority and basically a lot of headaches, a lot of responsibilities, but they're still equal to everybody else on the yard. And so for these guys to come out here and they make their pajamas with that look like CDC pants, it's just weird, man. It's a weird thing. It's kind of it's a hustle, and I can't knock nobody else's hustle, man. This is my hustle, but at least I'm honest in mine. I'm very honest in mine. There are people that dislike me, that say I'm dishonest, but they can't show any video where I contradict myself. But that's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.